Thank you, Chilufya Mutale Mwila, for joining us today. For those people who don't know Chilufya yet, she is the co-founder and CEO of PremierCredit Zambia Limited, and they're currently in Zambia and Zimbabwe. So it's a tech-driven company offering online micro-lending and investment platform, and it provides inclusive financial services. So they're trying to include as many people as possible. She's also the winner of the Best Woman in E-commerce Awards. So fantastic achievement there. And her company has also received funding, and they've just recently launched the peer-to-peer lending, which is a fantastic innovation. They're the first in Zambia. So welcome to the show. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me, Chiinga. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. So I want to start from the very beginning. I hear that you come from a family of 8 and your father was actually a single parent. How has that upbringing affected who you are today?
Well, it's been a long journey, and coming from a larger family, we're now a small unit. We are just 3 siblings. We are all double orphans. So basically, we're a bigger family, and over time, we lost siblings as well as both our parents. But what basically made the kind of person I am today is the parenting and the leadership that my father basically provided as a single parent in our home. It was not easy, I'm sure, in his time, raising a daughter as a single parent with all the worries that are there in the type of community basically where I was growing up in. I grew up in Chilenje, and I grew up in a community where the type of lifestyle that was around with the girls I was surrounding with, it was different. People were dropping out of school. A lot of girls were getting pregnant, not focusing on school. And then I'll be babysitting my friends' babies while I'm inside the house. My father was very, very strict, but I think that strictness and that kind of discipline basically fostered what I am today. And also, in addition to that, he basically created that culture of entrepreneurship at a very, very young age. So my first business venture was funded by him.
Oh, wow.
It was amounting to 2,700 kwacha. 2,000 was capital, 700 was transport, and it was to go to South Africa.
Yes.
I was a student at the time at the University of Zambia, and he basically asked me what is it that I could do basically that would help me earn money. And the key word that I still remember today is I'll not always be there.
Yeah.
So basically he was trying to create that kind of level of thinking in me to say,
exactly,
it's not all the time that you always have to go to your parents and they'll give you what you need.
Yeah.
But what can you do in the absence of your parents? So he was trying to build me. I didn't realize it at the time.
Right.
So he didn't even take me there.
Yeah.
He bought the ticket for me and gave me the capital.
Yes.
And the other thing he gave me was a waist bag and showed me to say, this is how we travel when we go to South Africa. We put a small waist bag and wear a t-shirt on top. And then this is how you move. Those are the only lessons I got.
Wow.
And when I went there on my own, thankfully I was accompanied by my aunt who was also doing business at the time.
Yes.
And then she also, similar to my dad, when we reached there, she said, I'm very busy. I've come for my orders. You have to just go on your own. Just remember where we are staying. You walk the blocks. Don't forget, you book this kind of cab. Yes. I had to do everything on my own. But I think that kind of level of upbringing really made me really strong, self-reliant, and also really courageous, trying to be courageous and not really dependent. Yes.
Yeah. I love that.
From that, so from that point, basically, I managed to get clothes, came back my bus. That was the first time going to South Africa as a student. Came back, I was able to sell the clothes on credit to friends. When we're waiting for them to get their bursary, we're getting these monthly stipends to support us, and people would pay back. And that was the first time I actually opened a bank account.
Yeah.
So it was just an empowering thing to open a bank account and then put your monies in an account. Yeah. And because you see the balance, you want it to increase, you get encouraged to do more. Yeah. And then my friends also got inspired to also start doing the same or do similar things. And then also we thought of, okay, what do? We can even get from Salaula, you wash these clothes, iron them, you sell them on credit. So basically, the issue of trying to think of so many things you can do and sell and make money started from a younger age, early on. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I think, like just hearing how your dad encouraged you, and that also speaks to how parents can actually influence their kids to be entrepreneurial. So that's really, really fantastic news. And then, you were building your career. So you got your degree, you're building your career, a corporate career, you were getting up there in the ladder, you were even CEO at one point. And then you made the decision that, I can actually serve customers better. I can create a business that will be successful. Tell us about that moment when you made that decision. What made you think, I can do better? I can actually start my own business.
At the time when I was thinking of these things, I was so confident that I could do it because as a CEO, I had done it before. I had a track record that showed basically that I was able to start a business from scratch, go through the whole regulatory process, get licenses, open up branches, hire employees, and then, grow a business really, really fast. So because you've done it before, you become more confident without realizing that there's a very big difference when you're an employee working for a company that has sufficient funding than you starting up your own journey as an entrepreneur, even though it's in the same line of business. That aspect I didn't know. So the confidence was there from the beginning. I had the drive, the motivation. But then as the journey started, it was different. It didn't go as planned. It didn't go as I anticipated or projected to say it would just fly so high because I've done it before. I've gone through all these things before. So what I didn't realize early on is the journey is very different when you're an entrepreneur with your own funds than when you're an employee and then starting up a business for a larger corporate that comes with so much funding.
Okay, so tell us more about that. So you're talking about, as when you think as an entrepreneur, I'm going to do this, it's going to grow quickly. You're just thinking about growth and everything the results that you want. But then as you start walking that journey, you realize, okay, it's not exactly as I thought it would be. You're already talking about, the employer has the funds, you don't have the funds. So what were some of the challenges? But maybe even before you talk about the challenges, because you quit your job. So what was that moment where you said, I need to quit my job? And then from there, what were the challenges that you faced as you started to go on the journey?
So it was a point where you reach a point in your career where you feel you are not making impact, really adding value to the community that you are serving. And then we were serving one kind of segment, and these were people who already were formally financially included because we were into consumer lending. And these are people who are in formal employment, who have access to a bank account, who have access to different kinds of loans, even from the banks. But then I really had the burning desire basically to do something that really made a difference in somebody's life. Something that brought about fulfillment for myself as a person, and then also made a difference in somebody else's life. And then the advantage I had from the previous company was that they were really tech driven. And they had brought in so much technology that basically opened my eyes to see there's so much we can actually use with technology to deliver certain solutions. And then prior to them, I was coming from another company that was not technology driven, but the core focus was the underserved market. So I came from a background where initially we were focused on the underserved market, but not using technology, but more or less with the traditional microfinance approach where you have to meet a person, talk to a person, onboard someone, and then the process takes a long time for them to receive their funding. Then you move to a platform where it's tech driven and someone can get a loan the same day, within minutes, they apply on a platform. And that was the first in the country. So we introduced something that was, it was a pioneer in Zambia, the first ever, which we saw now other companies now coming up and, doing similar or the same kind of services, because it was something that they saw that was possible. They saw somebody else doing that. So I'm happy that we saw many other companies do it, but basically the target market was primarily the consumer lending. And then, but you have your telcos basically offering these MTN Kasaka loans, Nasoba
Right.
loans with Airtel, they serve both customers. That's what I like about it, because it was serving those who were underserved, who were unbanked, and then they were also offering those kinds of services to them, as well as someone also in formal employment. So
Right.
for me, I felt I would add more value, providing something that really met the need of a customer. So
Right.
understanding the customer journey and knowing really what the key pain points were helped us know what kind of product that we would use and what kind of technology we would need to basically deliver that kind of solution.
Okay.
So the idea process was very clear. The strategy was clear. The execution part was easily laid down, but the process through was not as simple as we thought it was.
Right. So so before we go into the process, because I'm really interested in that, when do you quit your job? You know, like for you, what was that part where you're like, I'm gonna quit today? Because, you know, sometimes the advice is, well, stay in your job until your company is running well before you quit. You know, what made you make that decision, and at what point did you make that decision? Was like, I'm quitting today, I'm gonna start working as an entrepreneur? Or was it you had already started working on your business on the side and then you quit? What was that stage for you?
For me, it was a point where you already, when you start to feel you are not really fulfilled in your career, in what you're doing, naturally your mind, your heart is not so much into what you are doing. You basically are not fully vested in what you are doing. So you reach a point where you have to make that decision to where am I going? And the advice I got from one of my favorite mentors at the time was, you can't do both at the same time. That's injustice to your employer, because one, they created a platform for you to be where you are today. You've learned so much and gained so much value from them. You can't start up a similar business. Obviously, that's also a breach in your employment contract. And then also, just even from an ethical perspective, it's not something that makes sense to do. And then what he advised was, it makes sense if you're not ready, continue working while you're raising the money. And looking for additional partners to work with you, or you start now. So you have to quit and you start now, or if you're not ready and not confident enough, you continue working, but you start continuing raising money. But for me, I realized that even if I continued, if your mind is really set on something, you know, you do so much and add more value to where you really want to be. If your mindset is not there, it's just really difficult. And you just, there just comes that point when you just have to make that decision and say, I think what's best for me and what gives me a peace of mind is this. I don't have a peace of mind. I'm not resting. I feel I'm not really doing the best of my abilities and really serving people the way I feel I should serve people. You just have to make that decision. Though it's not easy, but if you get encouraging support from people that will basically encourage you, it's worth it's a leap of faith. I took a leap of faith. It was a big leap of faith. I took a very big leap of faith.
Exactly. Especially if you're doing well in a corporate career and then you make the decision, I'm going to do something on your own. So tell us about one of the big challenges that you face, like you're building this business now, whether it's, you know, money running out or whatever it is. What was the biggest challenge that you just felt like, almost like it makes you want to give up, but you pushed through it? What was that?
I think for us, it was a team commitment in the beginning. What makes really a business really start up really well and rise up fast, one of the key things is the team. And if in the beginning, if you don't really have a strong team that's really loyal to the company, and not really the company, the startup, the idea, loyal to the idea, to the startup, in really sharing, if you don't have that shared vision in terms of, this is what we're trying to build, this is what we're trying to do, but you have a team that's just with you for the sake of, I just do this and then I get paid, or I'm just here temporarily, or I'm looking for employment. This is what I found so far, but I would rather work for a bigger, you know, renowned institution and the like. So to have that kind of team that basically has the shared vision is something that wasn't easy. So because we were lacking that right from the beginning, we had a lot of challenges in our first year.
Okay. And how
Yes,
did you change that? How did you find the right people?
I think I changed the mindset of looking for talented individuals, but rather looking for people that have worked in startups before, and people that are looking to add value to basically people who are more socially driven, like with social impact, and then also people who want to, people who love to leave legacies. For example, someone who wants to contribute something and say, I really did this, that made this, you know, rather than someone who's just focused on having titles and getting a good pay, and then it just builds the CV. Yes. So we were looking for people also who had, you know, entrepreneurship backgrounds, basically people who also had some of their own businesses. They would understand the value of every quarter that is put in a business, and then also how to manage assets, as well as just having people that we could really connect with. Yeah. That would, yes, to develop that shared vision. Because when it comes to training someone, you can train anyone, even someone who has no work experience, but you really need someone who has similar goals, someone who shares similar goals with you. So people who are really passionate about helping other people and focusing on empowering other SMEs and entrepreneurs, and also people who love to use technology, that kind of thing. So that's what helped us really evolve the team structure to have the team that we have now. And I'm really grateful and thankful to God that we have a really strong team.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. I think the guest that I had previously also talked about the team, that the team is really key. And it's also fantastic to hear that, you know, whether in the beginning you struggle, but then later on you find a way to find those right people. And just to see that you can find those right people right in Zambia, you don't need to go anywhere else. So I think that is also fantastic. So now I want to move to fast forward to today and talk about the peer-to-peer lending that you've launched. I think that's really innovative. You're the first company to do this in Zambia.
Yes.
Before we go into the details of that, it's wonderful news. Before we go into the details of, you know, what it is, you had talked about this peer-to-peer lending, I think about a year ago. I read one of the articles where this was your vision for the future. I just want to you know, hear from you, like, how do you go from, I have this idea, we need to execute and get it done and get it to market? What's the process you go through? Like, how do you choose which idea are we going to go through? Are we going to choose? And then how do you execute on that? Because for me, it sounds like you come up with, you know, you make a decision and you're driving to, you know, to make that possible and available in the market.
Yeah. For us, it's when we were navigating through our business, we joined an accelerator program with the Bongo Hive Technology and Innovation Hub, and they were partnered with the UNCDF, and they had a session with where they had a brand Katimbo from UNCDF basically take us through a human-centered design concept, where he takes us through our business and then understanding who our customer persona is and developing that customer persona, and then understanding it. So it's from that concept basically, and also with basically my background with the previous company where the mission was to alleviate poverty, empower SMEs, and that was Finca Zambia. I had worked with them for over 6 years. So understanding that journey, that I had been interacting with so many businesses, and most of them were women. So I was more sympathetic towards women because I understood the challenges they were facing. It was very painful, but we saw that with the financing we gave them, really, there was so much impact in their businesses, in their lives. So I really believed in the vision and the mission. And I really felt that gap when you are so focused on consumer lending, like there's a bigger gap that really needs it more, that really needs so much attention. So when the concept of peer-to-peer lending came through, it was because of the customers that we're working with. These are our partners in the business. When they make their money, that when you see their businesses start to grow, they didn't have so many options on what do they do with that money afterwards. So when you have those interactions with them,
Yes.
Some of them, even to this day, still keep money, slice up a mattress and keep some money in a mattress. Yes. Some of them will put them in the chilimbas. But the challenges they would have is not everyone is committed to paying on time.
Right.
And then some of them would they would be forced to join certain groups or schemes just to keep their money safe. And then for those that was really painful for me was where they keep their money in the house. Then maybe the spouse, the husband, takes that money, goes drinking. She argues with him for, why did you take this money? Maybe she's beaten, maybe this happens. These are stories that people will tell you that they go through. And then you find maybe it's not even a spouse, maybe it's a son or a daughter or a dependent that they're keeping in the home. Or some of them, there was a funeral in the community. They had to remove their money and take it. There was someone fell sick, they had to do this. So I realized that if people could have an easy platform that they could use, something that is trusted, something reliable, and something convenient for them, it would be easy. Now, with the peer-to-peer lending, you have the borrowers, they're in need of financing. But as a fintech, your cost of borrowing is also high compared to the bank. So automatically, you will not offer a service, a product that's cheaper than what the bank would offer, because you are not taking deposits. And then you find that with the borrower, even if they were to place a fixed term deposit, you are locking someone's money. Believe you me, these entrepreneurs, the small scale traders, they need money every day. They need a platform where they can invest and still have the flexibility of removing their money at their convenience when they need it. So we had to come up with a platform that made those needs. So the product and the service comes from understanding what the customer is going through. Then you try to address those and see if you're actually meeting a need, thereby creating a solution that makes something better for someone. So here is Emulusa, that's our customer persona. She gets a loan from PremierCredit. She's able to build her business, but let's say she's making an excess of 100 kwacha per day. She can still deposit 100 kwacha every day on the platform. She doesn't have to make a deposit once. That's the flexibility.
Fantastic. But is it also, so I love the fact that it's also for it's a service that you're providing to your persona. But what if I'm also interested in the lending, what's the process? Can people also who are not borrowing loans, can they also invest on the platform?
Yes, they can. And also the value to that is, Chiinga, is that even as you are investing and you're making money from it, but you're also lending to people who are underserved. You're adding value and making the lending process cheaper and affordable for them. So you are actually adding and contributing to that impact, and you're adding value to someone else's life. So that's the message you are driving, because that's the fact on the ground, and that's what's happening. So you find that when you look at the platform and you see the people that we onboard, we're basically making sure we onboard people that will be able to repay these loans, because we don't want you to bear any form of risk. But then because you are the one investing, the loan is now affordable for the borrower, and the borrower receives this funding. So basically you are creating, boosting a lot of things. One, this person has dependents. On average, it's 6 in a household. So when you boost their business, you're creating education opportunities for the dependents. You are helping them build their assets, build their wealth, leading to financial health. But at the same time, Chiinga, as you are working, as you are doing your business, you're earning passive income. So the rates may not be astronomical as how a loan shark would do it, but you are earning income at the same time, adding value to somebody else's life.
I love it. I love the side of just making an impact. And also that we're, as a country, or the citizens, that you are able to influence the local businesses. So it's really up to us to build solutions in the market that serve or help grow the nation. It's not waiting for whether it's handouts or waiting for someone to come up with solutions. We have, they're the people who have the money, they're the people that need the money. And how do we, what you're doing is bringing those together and helping provide a transformation. So fantastic. What you're doing is really, really amazing. I want to talk about funding, because there may be other entrepreneurs who are listening and and they're saying, I need funding. But before we even go to how you got funding, I think one of the things that I've heard you say is, first invest your own money. And a lot of people usually when they're talking about starting a business, they're like, I need investors. So can you talk about that philosophy, about investing and proving something before you even go out to get money?
I think it all starts with it's the same concept you would find even these days in our society. When a family member is getting married, even when you have your committees, they'll always ask you, how much do you have? How much of your own money do you have? Even as you're asking for all of us to raise funds for your wedding or for your kitchen party or your chilanga mulilo and things like that. So you find that if you want people to have a buy-in and believe in your business, you need to first believe in it yourself. You need to invest your own money. You need to reach a point where you can, see how much, what you have invested, see how far you can go. And you reach a point where others will now come in to help you. Because right from the beginning, it will be very difficult to find the right person, to take it up from where you reach. So I believe when we are really committed in something, we're really passionate and really dedicated at something that we're doing, there's something that will come up to a point where we'll reach. When you've reached a point where I can only go this far, someone else will now help you propel you upwards. But you really need to use your own money, your own time. For me, it would have been easier to have people, and then I focus on getting another job and working. I'm not investing time as well in the business. I'm not investing my own time. But for me, I went in it full time. So I invested not just money, but time, all my skills, resources, networks, everything I learned, and basically put everything in it. And basically, even the people that get to understand our business, even the potential funders we're meeting, these were the key things they picked on. The passion, the commitment, it's there. Those are the things they love to see in a founder. That's the thing they would love to see in an entrepreneur. Because if you are looking at, for example, you want to scale in your agricultural business, you have potential to buy a piece of land, but you're waiting for an investor to come to buy the land, to actualize your concept or your idea. Why don't you buy the land first? If someone can see that you have this kind of commitment, this is what you are doing. I want to have, for example, 500 fish ponds. If I can start with just one fish pond, show someone that this is how it works, and we multiply that one by the actual number, someone can now calculate to see this is how much we can grow if we now multiply this. So someone has to see something happen first.
Exactly. No, that is, absolutely fantastic. And I think what people usually don't, or maybe we don't talk about it as often, is when you're getting funding, you do give ownership of a certain part of your company. Now, if you go in and you're starting a company and you get funding, it means you have to give up a large portion of ownership to someone else. Whereas if you've allowed your business to grow, you can actually show revenue and customers, then there's some form of evaluation that you have on your business, so that if you're taking in money, they'll only own a certain portion of it.
That's very, very true. The fact that you have revenue and the valuation is done, even though you're early stage, you would find that they will, depending on your agreement with them, they will not be able to get a majority in your business, but only a minority, because there's basically value that is already there. You already have data, you already have traction, you already have numbers. And basically it's just seeing how that will now work without the funding. This is what you're able to do. With funding, this is where we can go. And then in addition to that, depending on the type of funding, it's important for entrepreneurs to understand what really works for their business. For those businesses that have a really get high revenue streams, basically, it would be easier to get funding in terms of a loan rather than equity. But if you are a kind of business, basically, that doesn't require so much money at the early stage, it's better you focus on getting maybe an angel investor rather than a venture capital firm. And then also you can look at other collaborations or partnerships where you can focus. For example, we were under an accelerator program where we got grant funding at the end of the program. For
Right.
some people, maybe what they might need is just 10,000 USD, 5,000 USD, 20,000. You can look for some programs where you benefit from the program that helps you understand your business and metrics better. And then you get grant funding, you start from there.
Right.
Usually the misconception is around you really have to start with a lot of money and then you
Right.
see how that goes. Sometimes you realize that you don't even need a lot of money
Yeah.
to actually scale your business. You
Right.
really have to understand your unique metrics and really understand your cost of acquisition.
Right.
When you really understand that cost of acquisition, you understand how you can make it leaner, but efficient. You can make more money with actually less.
Right, right, fantastic. Now I'm curious, you're very passionate about your business, you're moving it forward. Where do you get your drive from? Where do you get that passion from to really move forward, you know, despite all the challenges that you face with the business in Africa, or for any business for that matter?
I think the drive is, I think it's inborn. It's inborn, I think. And I also come from a family of women that are like that, who have that kind of drive. So my mother died when I was very, very young, but most of the people that knew her, when they meet me and see what I'm doing, basically they say, you have your mother's spirit. Your mother was like this. Your mother, I think it's just inbuilt in me. And my father was an entrepreneur. He really worked really, really hard. And he was doing multiple kinds of businesses. Yeah. So basically his goal was, I need to make sure my children are educated. My children are this is this. And he was very disciplined. Yeah. So for me, basically, the drive really comes from making my family proud. I have children. I need to create a better platform for my children, better than I had. My father created a better platform for him, for me, better than he had. And I should do the same for my kids. But moreover, and more importantly, the communities that we are serving. Right. We live in a community and a society where many of us are below the poverty line. But at the end of the day, within ourselves, we can manage with the resources that are there to get a lot of people above that poverty line. With the kind of technologies that are there, with the kind of funding resources that are there, if we could channel them to the right places, to the designated places that actually focus on these core entities, we can make things better. So for me, I really get that inspiration from believing that the change can be there and I can be the change I want to see in this world. I believe it's possible and I know it can be done. And one step at a time, with whatever contribution I have, I know many others are doing the same. So together we basically create an impact. Yeah. So at the end of the day, whatever small footprint I make, someone else is making another footprint. Together, we are causing a greater impact.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is wonderful. I think one of you, well, you just also mentioned just now that you have kids, your wife, and you are CEO of a business that is growing, the co-founder. So you have a lot going on in your life. Yeah. How do you make it work together? Like, what is your support structure like? What helps you, you know, to manage it all?
To be honest, it's sometimes you even think like, how did we get through this period? It's support systems are there. My husband is my number one support system. He's been very supportive in our business. In particular, at the time when I was expectant, and that was the time when we were starting our business. The timing seemed like logical to someone else. They'll say this is bad timing, but I think God's timing is always the best. Right. So it was a time where he was there, fully vested in the business. He quit all his business activities and went in full time in a business basically that he had no, you know, it's like it was not his drive, but then he went full time in it, believing that this is something that will accomplish together, better together as a team. And it hasn't been easy because we really complement each other. His strengths are my weaknesses. My strengths are his weaknesses. So together, basically, it really helps. Right. In terms of focusing on family life as well, I've been fortunate at least to find people that help me at home. And then finding it's not easy as a woman to find a right caretaker or nanny or child minder for your kids. You find that, you know, in a few months you have to change, they're not able to do this, but at least I was fortunate to find a really good lady that helps me, Diana, at home. And then it's also, you have a support system at work. You know, that all these things that happen where you have to concentrate on your home. There's also your marriage, and then there's also your family life. There's also the extended family, and then there's the business. You know, so you know, I really feel like Monday to Sunday is like not enough. 24 hours in a day is not enough. And when you have a baby, believe you me, you're not sleeping in the night. And then there's also work that has to happen. You're on maternity leave, but there's nothing like maternity leave because you have to be in the business.
Right.
You see, when you are a startup, you are a small team. It's different when you are, you know, the CEO in a larger corporate. When you go on maternity leave, things just continue flowing because these systems are already in place. But you are a startup, you are building the systems. They're not there, they're not set. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we're in the year 2019 where we're still developing the team. We didn't have a strong team. So it was really challenging at the time. And also there was so much of multitasking. I was wearing too many hats. You are the HR, you are this, you are this, you are this.
Yeah.
And you have little funding. You really can't get the right kind of skills with the funding that you have.
Right.
So we leveraged off on the technology that helped us have a leaner model over time because certain things, processes were automated without having a person hired to do that kind of part. So the support system was there through my partner, Eugene. He's been very, very supportive even in this time. And also having family that basically understands that you are very, very busy. But it hasn't been easy. There are a lot of sacrifices that are made. You don't spend so much time with your kids as you would. But I think I try as much as possible, especially on weekends, to really try and bond and really develop that that bonding with my kids, because I'm not always there. Not easy, but it's very, very manageable. There's that spirit that just always is there, that just makes you keep going and energized in the morning. And that's what helps me is when I see the impact and the joy that comes from our customers, who basically also, they actually give us a lot of ideas. Can you try this? Can you do this? Can you do this? We have some customers, for example, Chiinga, sorry to take you off topic, but who would say, when I go to the border, when I cross over, is it possible maybe if I can receive my money from there rather than me going with the cash? You know, they tell you, thinking, okay, so what can I do? You have a lot of customers that go through this. What, you know, it's when you really interact with your customers, you understand what they need and you try to create more and more solutions. So there are more things coming in 2022 by PremierCredit for the customers. I don't know if I can preempt here, but there are more things. We can talk about it next year.
Okay. Oh, fantastic.
But it's better solutions for customers.
But I can sense this passion in you and this joy and this excitement. Like, you're excited about the business, you're excited about your family, you know, even the extended and how you make it all work. And that's just fantastic to see. And you know, I think more women need to see it. And I think you have a full life in essence. Like, we are created to, you know, to enjoy everything, to really take our vision beyond what we even imagine and make it possible. So just really, really fantastic to see. One of my last questions for you is, who inspires you, like, or who do you look up to?
There are many people that inspire me. Maybe I can mention, I would say one, my father inspired me. He was very, very disciplined, and he was very, very consistent. And that's those are key features that are really good to make a really strong business, especially for a founder: consistency, and because that leads to focus, as well as the discipline. And then also another person I've never met who inspires me is Elon Musk. And not because he's the wealthiest in the world, but basically because he has that kind of drive of never giving up. If you read his story, basically there's so many things that where the whole world was watching, they failed so many different times, but they still made it. They didn't give up. So basically that's drive of not giving up, of wanting to do something that people might think is absurd or beyond, like, is that possible? But you actually get to do it. You know, it takes a leap of faith. It's not something that's easy. For example, Chiinga, you want to do something like, oh, I want to try creating this kind of thing, where people even say, how will that be possible? Who is buying into this? Who's going to do this? It's not working here. Look at the market here. But then you have those who visualize it. They even see it happening. They understand it and they get it done. Exactly. People who get it done, those are people that get to inspire me. They are visionaries for me. He's a visionary and he inspires me, and my father inspired me.
Oh, fantastic. Great examples, great examples. So my last question for you is, what impact do you want to have in the world or in Africa, or just, I think, globally anyways? What is the impact that you want to have?
I want to contribute to an economy where we'll have everybody financially included. Mm-hmm. Once we're in a digital economy where everyone is financially included, mm-hmm. people will have so many services that they can pick from. You see, as we grow as PremierCredit, other people can get inspired to start the same. There is no such thing as the market is saturated, you won't find clients. 10 people can open up today, they will find clients, as long as they have the right product and service. Yeah. So when all of us are contributing to that kind of economy where everybody is financially included, it means all of us will have so many options to pick from. When we have so many options to pick from, it becomes very affordable, mm-hmm. very convenient. Everyone will be now focused on driving easy and convenient solutions for people. It will make life easy for everyone. We should reach a point where, Chiinga, I can open a bank account from where I'm seated. I can open an account. I can get my card brought to me if I need a card. Or I can have my virtual wallet or virtual card on my phone. I can go and make purchases without a card, but using my phone. We need to reach that point. And everyone should be able to reach that point. Exactly. We should reach a point where things are digitized. I can easily get a score, and within seconds, money is credited to my phone, and I'm able to transact on my phone. We should have a point where a smartphone is affordable. Anyone can access it so that they can use the services, even if we bring in the USSD, but it should be easy for someone to use these kinds of services offline and online. So we really need the support of the infrastructure being set in all these places that create this enabling environment for us to operate. Yeah. But we will reach that point, and that's the point. That's what I look forward to.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, amazing, amazing. So thank you so much for for coming on and just from hearing your stories. I know a lot of people will be inspired. You inspire me. So yeah, thank you.
You inspire me. I love what you're doing. Yeah. I follow you. I've been seeing what you've been doing, and it's really amazing. And it's something that I really believe there's so much that everyone can do. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing like there's no space for anyone. There's a lot of space for everyone. But at the end of the day, the focus should be, it's about making someone else's life easier and better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.